What is up, Planeswalkers? Theoric 6 back with some more Magic the Gathering Arena. Don't forget to head on over to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. It's a great deal and helps support the channel. Today, we're playing another combo deck. You guys really enjoyed the stupid, like, infinite squee deck, and this is another infinite deck. However, where the infinite squee deck was a lot more all-in, such that pretty much everything in the deck either just found the combo or was a part of the combo, this deck is a little bit different. It also, I believe, has like one fewer moving parts. So really quickly, I'll explain the combo. The combo really is Sorcerer's Wand plus Famished Paladin plus Squire's Devotion. Before I get into that, I should note that this is a deck. This is a combo that has been around since the last standard iteration, and I made technically a video on that, but it was mixed in with other videos that people didn't love. So, just like last time, this is a combo deck that I knew about, but a commenter mentioned how this was used in Nox's event, and I was like, well, yeah, that actually works relatively well here, because as long as you have, as long as you know exactly what's in your deck, you can kind of guarantee getting the combo off. But that said, I did decide to make this specific deck because you guys seem to enjoy this type of infinite nonsense. So essentially what we do is Famished Paladin does not normally untap, but it does untap when you gain life. Squire's Devotion gives the Famished Paladin lifelink. So if we find some way to make Famished Paladin deal damage, he will untap. Sorcerer's Wand allows Famished Paladin to tap itself and ping a thing to deal 1 damage. And then since the Famished Paladin is dealing the damage, and it has lifelink, you will gain 1 life, and this will untap. And then you can do it again, and again, and again. The reason I'm saying that this is a 4-card combo is because we don't want to have to wait for a turn where Famished Paladin is vulnerable. Now, you could do that. You could play Famished Paladin, and then these cards, plus a bunch of counter spells to keep Famished Paladin alive. However, I found that that was not as good as it otherwise could be, and I would rather just get an absurd amount of mana, get to a point where my opponent is either tapped out, or I know that there's like nothing good in their hand for whatever reason, and then just cast all of this in the same turn, and use Torch Courier to give it haste. And then when we give it haste, we don't have to wait that extra turn. That said, because we are including Torch Courier, we kind of had to cut down on these cards, but I have found that it's kind of fine, just the amount of card draw in the deck. Speaking of card draw, that gets us into the next portion of the deck, the cards that draw cards. Opt is a fantastic card because, 1, it replaces itself, but in replacing itself, it allows us to scry things to the top or bottom, depending on what we need in that specific moment. Revitalize, very similar to Opt, replaces itself, but it also gains us life, which is very helpful when you want to not die against aggro decks. You'll notice that this deck is very heavily tuned against specifically aggro, in that we are running an entire package devoted to aggro, or mid-range decks as well, but we really aren't running anything against control. Unfortunately, if our opponent is a heavy discard deck, or our opponent is running a large number of counterspells, there isn't a ton we can do. Against discard, we're kind of just screwed. They force us to discard our hand, and we can't really do anything about that. That is just kind of a matchup we just lose, at least in game 1s. Against the counterspell decks, you can win, but you need to be very patient and time your going off turn accordingly. You also could, because there are multiples in the deck, you could set up a false turn, or a false combo turn, where let's say you have double Famished Paladin and double Squire's Devotion. Right, you play out the Famished Paladin and the Squire's Devotion, but if you only have 1 Torch Courier, and maybe you suspect that your opponent also runs artifact removal and 1 Sorcerer's Wand, then you can just wait. You have spare copies of Famished Paladin and Squire's Devotion, you can wait, and then if you're allowed to untap, then you can, you don't even necessarily have to go in for the combo initially, but you could then play out the Sorcerer's Wand, because you don't need the Torch Courier since it has life in it. But anyway, that's suffice to say, against counterspell-based control decks, you do just kind of have to be super patient. Search for Azcanta helps a lot against those types of control decks, because it allows you to get duplicate copies of almost all of the cards, except, of course, Famished Paladin, because it hits non-creatures. It also is just helpful because early on to the game, you're going to be able to scry certain lands to the top or bottom. We're running a 3-3 split of Chemister's Insight and Pirate's Pillage. The reason for this is Chemister's Insight overall draws us more cards. This draws 3 cards, counting the card you have to discard to jumpstart, to Pirate's Pillage's 2. But Pirate's Pillage does give you the treasures. Now, if you look at the total mana here, it's, I think, 10. It's 1, 2, plus 3 is 5, plus 4. Yeah, so this is 10 total mana. So you'll need to have 10 mana in order to execute the combo completely out of hand. And you usually want to execute out of hand. So having the treasures allows us to not necessarily need to wait until you hit 10 mana. 10 land drops, I should say. So that's very helpful. It is a sorcery, which is unfortunate, but it's not too big a deal. Pirate's Pillage, like Chemister's Insight, does force you to discard if you're trying to get max value. So technically, Pirate's Pillage gets you one extra card? Yeah, it's like +1 card, but +2 tokens. So they're relatively comparable. And I found the 3/3 split very nice. We're running a single Teferi. I don't know if this is correct, but Teferi's a strong card, and you could theoretically... I've been in situations where by situations, I mean situation singular, it only happened once, where I had enough mana to play out Teferi against a blue control opponent, and if they decided to counter Teferi, they wouldn't have enough mana to counter the rest of my combo. So Teferi could act as a nice like bait against those types of decks. Additionally, it draws cards, it's a pseudo protection, and theoretically it's an alternate win condition. This is our mana base. I'm not super confident about it, but it's worked so far. I have 4 Zhalfirin Voids, which is actually incredibly strong because it just helps. The Scry just helps in this type of deck so much. As I said previously, you guys voted that these kind of wacky decks are going to be best of ones, but I still do want to talk about sideboard options if you do end up taking this into best of threes. That said, I'm not sure this deck is cut out for best of threes just because of how vulnerable it is. This type of combo that requires so many moving parts is really easily disrupted. If this was a 2 or maybe even like really easy 3-card combo that doesn't include creatures, then I would say sure, go for it. But I would suggest don't hop into best of 3 unless you're really confident with the deck. But yeah, Tocatli Honor Guard, none of our... I mean, we only have 1 creature, really. But Tocatli Honor Guard helps against the super heavy Golgari decks that use Explore and things. Disdainful Stroke, great against control. Negates, again, great against control. Very helpful if you are running against the discard-based control decks, because you can hopefully get rid of some of the more annoying things that can come back, like Disformation Campaign. Lava Coil against some of the more annoying mid-range decks. Benalia, Rekindling Phoenix, and Lyra are all nice to bring in situations against control, where you're like, I'm probably not going to be able to go off on the combo, so maybe you take out a lot of the combo pieces, trim them down, and then bring in threats that your opponent is not going to be prepared for. Another Teferi, Niv Mizzet are also helpful against control. That said, Teferi can come in against other mid-range strategies just to have a little bit more staying power. Niv Mizzet is just annoying to play against if you're playing control. And then Nexus of Fate and Expansion Explosion, I just like as cards. These, as I said, you can just see they're one-ofs. This is just kind of giving you guys a little bit of inspiration on what I might make a sideboard around. Probably focusing around the Honor Guard pack, like probably 4 Honor Guards for Golgari midrange. And then some number of counter spells, and then these threats to bring it against control. That's probably what I'd end up doing. Now, I want to say, all 3 of these wins are with this deck, with this exact iteration. Well, not this iteration, it's this one, I think. Because that's without the sideboard. It's all 3 of these are with this iteration. So, if I just lose completely, I want you all to know that I got at least 3 wins. I think I got 2 losses, but the first one was before I added in Pirate's Pillage, and I don't remember the other one. Apparently our opponent is unimportant. But yes, theoretically, we should be fine. So when you're evaluating this deck's hands, you want to look at a few things. You want to look at the number of combo elements you have access to, as well as what your game plan is to get to the rest of them. This is not great if you're looking at game plan to get the last part of the combo. Last part of the combo is Famished Paladin. We have Zhalfirin Void, no draw spells. We're going second, which is unfortunate. However, I don't think it's strong in this situation to mulligan. So I do think I'm just going to keep this hand, and I might have to use a Torch Courier equipped with a Squire's Devotion, depending, of course, on what exactly our opponent is playing. This is definitely one of the weaker 7s, but our 6 is likely to not be as good. And we're going up against zombies, so I'm inclined to... I'm definitely inclined to play out a Torch Courier, and Sorcerer's Wand, But hopefully we'll get some form of board wipe. Alright, opponent seems to be relatively new, because they are playing a bad Vraska. Alright, so we do have the entirety of the combo. Against mono black, it does mean that our Famished Paladin is relatively likely to die. But what we could do is... So this is 5 mana. So what we could do is we can play out a Torch Courier and a Sorcerer's Wand. Mono black is not going to be able to destroy an equipment, an artifact. So what we can do is play these two things out. Play out... Yeah, and then just hope we get to this point. I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to take life for it. Do I want to play Zhalfirin Void? Yes. I want to see what's on top. We kind of just need the land. We'll play Torch Courier. If they end up killing Torch Courier, that's fine. Because of the reason I'm playing it like this is because of how few cards are left in their hand. We have to assume one of those is a land. And if they end up using a removal spell on Torch Courier, that's fewer removal that they have access to for Famished Paladin. No blocks. Alright, so now what we can do is we can give Torch Courier a Squire's Devotion. That's dangerous because of the fact that our opponent could respond and then we're down a Torch Courier and a Squire's Devotion, but I think we're going to go for it. Because YOLO? Oh, I'm dumb. I always forget to count the extra 3 mana here. I'm going to still do it though. Right. And we're just going to go attacking in. It's very, very rare that you sequence like this. I sequence like this specifically because of the type of deck I'm playing against. And in the majority of situations, I don't think it's correct. Okay. Revitalize is nice. The problem here is... I can't cast Famished Paladin. So this costs 6 to do. Squire's Devotion plus Sorcerer's Wand is 6 total. So I'm going to want to, I guess, play Famished Paladin next turn and hope it survives. Which is not something we want to do. But, against this deck, it's kind of all we can do. Not you. You get to attack. There's no way they're blocking here. Yeah, I'm fine ending that. No reason to equip a Sorcerer's Wand to a Torch Courier. Doesn't really do anything. Mana Reaper is fine. So for what it's worth, their shields are down this turn. We'll Revitalize. See if we get like an Opt or something. An Opt, very nice. Another Revitalize. It is something we are able to do with Famished Paladin. And we have enough life that I'm not too worried. But I think I would rather just try and draw something different. Another Torch Courier. Okay, so if this one ends up biting the dust, then that's nice. I'm going to save this to block the Midnight Reaper. Seasons don't fear the Reaper, nor do the wind or the sun or the rain. We can be like they are. I've probably sung that song more than any other song on this freaking channel. Alright, our opponent hasn't used removal yet. They have a Contempt in the grave. It would cost me 8 mana. I have technically 4, or technically 6. I would have to survive several more turns. I think against this specific deck, and because of the hand I decided to keep, I think I'm kind of punished into just playing like this and hoping. Oh, you know what? I could have played this instead and at least equipped this. I don't think it's going to matter. Need my Famished Paladin to not die. My opponent has 2 cards. That's essentially the reason why I decided to go with this line, is that my opponent had so few cards. And it was relatively unlikely that they were going to had the exact card they needed. This is nice. Just block this and don't care. I can't lose my Torch Courier because I played stupidly in such a way that I won't have enough mana to play all of it. But we should win now as long as my opponent does not have... I guess technically I should equip this first. I don't know if it matters. Alright, and then we do this. And we don't even have to sack the Torch Courier. I'm dumb, because we just have this. Alright. And I ping you now. Cool, we win. One unfortunate thing about this is it takes a lot of clicks. One fortunate thing about it is, unlike the Goblin deck, or the Squee deck, there we go. It's just two things clicking instead of like, sacrifice a goblin, choose this goblin. Sacrifice a goblin, choose the other goblin. Alright, cool. I'm at least the first game was a success. That's what really matters. Frankie Danky, that is just disturbing. As boring as the games are against Control, I do hope that I end up playing against Control at some point. This hand's fine. These Revitalizes are functionally different. We have one piece of the combo, not great, but we also have Board Wipe and Pillage, so I think this is a good hand to keep. A little land light, but should be alright. Got another piece of the combo. I like shoving them to the right. Oh crap, blue-black. Yep, this is the exact type of deck that we probably just can't beat. If our opponent takes the Famished Paladin, then we probably just concede. It's almost impossible as a dense-based combo deck to beat a heavy discard deck. But the fact that they took Deafening Clarion makes me think that this is not a super heavy discard deck. I think it's just a... But why? Alright. I think it's maybe just a Surveil deck, but, I mean, they double Thought Erasured me. Okay. You take Famished Paladin here, right? They have to know I'm up to something. I mean, I guess they don't have to. Okay, they took Famished Paladin. You know what? I'll still keep trucking along for a couple turns until, of course, I don't draw another lands. Alright, yeah, we don't need to play this game. I didn't concede because my opponent was a discard deck. I didn't concede because I wasn't getting lands. It was both. If it was one or the other, I probably would have stuck around, especially since I had triple Revitalize. But yeah, that type of thing happens when you play such a strange deck. You kind of have to accept losses like that. You know, if you're playing a super linear burn deck and your opponent is playing for some reason like a heavy life gain deck, probably not going to win that game. This hand is fine. It might seem bad because these lands all come in tapped, and Zhalfirin Void is colorless. But essentially, since we're going first, we just turn one of these, Zhalfirin Void, and search. So this is totally fine. Got Pirate's Pillage, which is helpful. So I think we're actually going to Fortress first, because Revitalize is something that we can cast. So opponent on green of some sort. We don't want another Fortress. Want some shocks. Green of some sort, but they didn't have a turn 1 Llanowar Elf, which is very helpful. Next turn, we probably just Sulfur Falls into an Opt. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay, Sacred Foundry. Do we Sacred Foundry instead of Zhalfirin? I think we do. Because I can still just opt end a turn anyway. Opponent on red-green. I've been seeing a lot of, oh, they're on Temur. Interesting. Land Destruction? Are they going to play Gift of Paradise? I'm very curious as to what my opponent's playing. I've been seeing a lot of the freaking Sarkhan's Unsealing deck. Curse you, Merchant. and your influence. Go ahead and opt here. We will keep that. Because it's, you know, it's part of the combo. We'll dump this. Alright. Pillage is nice here. I guess we pillage one of our voids. Our opponent could ionize us, but yeah. Alright, got another piece of combo, which is helpful. We'll just pass turn. Next turn we can Zhalfirin Void pillage the fortress. We definitely want something nice here. Teferi is good. Any of the Chemister's Insight is also quite nice, just because of the density of cards that they draw. Because we have access to 7, technically 8 mana. Yeah, we have the mana situation cured. We just need to get to the other 2 pieces of the combo. So, luckily, we have the Famished Paladin and the Torch Courier. Search can get the other 2 pieces. So, and our opponent is also helpfully not putting up too much of a pressure on us. It looks like they're also playing something janky and nonsensical, quasi-duplicate of some sort. So, let's see what this is. I think it's on 5, right? I'll toss in the grave. There's not really a reason to just like cast it for no reason. I think I will Zhalfirin Void. I'll probably get rid of the Cleansing Nova, to be honest. I don't think I need that. You know, I think since we have enough mana, we're just gonna keep the Cleansing Nova just in case nonsense happens, and we'll drop the Fortress. We have enough mana to cast pretty much anything we need. Cool, very helpful. Yep, just pass turn. I'd like these over here, please. Next turn we can Insight. We have a good contingency plan if our opponent plays something scary. Next turn we're getting our Azcanta, which is nice. And with that Azcanta we'll have 10 mana, so we will have enough to do the entire combo in a single turn. Yeah, cool. Alright. This is the type of deck that you want to see. You just want to see, oh, it's Polyraptor. Oh, I love it. I'm relatively certain my opponent is playing Polyraptor combo. I plan on making this deck at some point. I just haven't figured out, like, how to make it correctly. Dude, get the Polyraptor. I know you want to. Do it. Aww. That makes me sad. That's fine. I could Deafening Clarion this. I don't know if I will. I don't need that. Alright. Because I'm definitely going to Nova him next turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if my opponent plays a land next turn, they'll have 8. That's not enough to quasi-duplicate and play this. To be fair, even if they did, I wouldn't care, because I could just blow them up anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is just opt into... Well, I'm going to opt first. Why would... I need to check the tape. I swear it highlighted that Glacial Fortress. I mean, it's fine. I'll just cast the Chemister's Insight. But in what world would I want to cast Opt using Azcanta? Why? Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Alright, just cast the Carnage Tyrant. Oh. Yep, there you go. That's totally fine, because I'm going to blow it up. Oh no, I'm going to take a damage. Yeah, I assume... So yeah, my opponent is playing clone-y dinosaurs. I'm certain they have at least one Polyraptor in the deck. I assume they didn't take it because they see that I'm playing Jeskai, and I think they're correct. Yeah, I think they're correct in not being mental. No, I don't want to get rid of the extra insight. So yeah, just Nova here. I'll play the mountain. Nova here. I don't want to get rid of my tokens. Do you have something? Alright. And we're not going to want to use... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I guess we can use 2 things. So instead of... So I was thinking about playing the Azcanta, but since I have enough mana, I think I am going to just pass turn and use Azcanta. We're still missing 2 pieces. We have a extra nonsense here, but... So we have, what, 2 more Cleansing Novas, I think, and 1 Settle the Wreckage, or 2 Settle the Wreckages. I really should figure out how many exact things are in the deck. All right. Yep, Polyraptor. I knew it. I'm down to almost half my deck. Go ahead and take... Ooh, Settle the Wreckage, though. No, I mean, I'd rather just take the piece of the combo. I can't do everything, right? I don't think my opponent can infinite kill me in 1 turn, right? Like, I think they have to wait an entire turn to do it. So... I don't think I can Azcanta and play them. No, I can't. So I think what I do is I play this. It's highlighting the Glacial Fortress. Alright, cool. So I play this. This just helps search for more things. Darn, I wish I could unplay that. No, I guess I couldn't have cast all of the things anyway. Alright, and I will pass. Azcanta's still the better thing because it looks at 4, so I'm instead of playing Chemister's Insight, I get to see the top 4 things. So, all right, opponent, what do you got? You got 5 cards plus the quasi duplicate. You need to use all of your blue to quasi duplicate. Mirror image, that's fine, doesn't kill me. Yeah, so my opponent's playing a dope Dino Clone deck. Mad props to our head. And a Gulta, that's a little scary. Alright, so I'm looking for either Cleansing Nova, Seal Away, or last part of the combo. I also need my opponent not to have Lightning Strike. I guess I have double Famished Paladin. Alright, I got Cleansing Nova. Oh, wait. This is the last thing I need. I was so close to taking Cleansing Nova. I need to decline this. I'm fine keeping that. Decline this. Thank you. Okay. I have enough mana. Let's go ahead and play Famished Paladin. Let's go ahead and play this. I really don't like that my opponent keeps looking at their stuff. I'm dead if they have any response at this point. There's nothing I can do. All right. I should technically win. Cool. I don't think there's anything instant. Oh, well, I guess they could bounce my Famished Paladin with something that's blue, but nope. So, excuse me. I'm not the type of person to give a good game in this situation, just because, like, I like their deck, and I hope that they like my deck. We're both playing, like, cool decks, I think. I guess to be fair, I'm playing essentially like a modified version of Jeskai Control. But usually the etiquette is that the winner isn't the one who says good game. I'm actually curious, what do you guys think of that specific etiquette? I enjoyed myself. I hope my opponent enjoyed themselves. The biggest problem with them enjoying themselves is they kind of lost out of nowhere. But we are both playing stupid decks, so I'm glad Singleton's back. I will probably play some of that at some point. Let me know if you guys want to see a specific Singleton deck. I should say this was not something voted on by the patrons. This is just something that I wanted to do because we're going into what's the word I'm looking for? Test time, exam time. There we go. So I'm just like gonna record a bunch of stuff in sequence today, so that stuff comes out and I don't have to worry about it. Anyway, I think we're gonna end it off there. I'd like to thank my lovely patrons, especially Salamander, for their continued support. If you'd like to join them supporting the channel, for as little as $1 a day, you can find a link to that in the description down below, along with the link to my Discord. I hope you guys enjoyed this combo deck as well. If you did, go ahead and tap that like button, add a subscription to your mana pool, and cast a comment in the comment section down below. And until next time, all will be one.